I think this was very clear in the case in India when we were facing this particular part, and this I'm talking to is individual, not as the party spokesperson. But let me tell you, when I met the Twitter representative in Delhi, and I made her aware that there were sponsored ads from the terrorist organization, and the cold, blank face of her, and she said, "We know it," and that probably made me to understand that they were doing things with understanding what they are doing. And that probably those are the files which have to be now tapped once again. Once again, we have to check whether this was done with an intention of not only bias but also the malice of terrorist funded money. So here we see 2-3 things. One is that there is a bias against the religion, bias against the country, bias against a political system, bias against a philosophy, but coupled with funding. I would like to ask one question which I'm always been asking myself and I didn't get answer. If Twitter was always in losses, who was funding it? I read one statement from Elon Musk which he said he has to build Twitter, otherwise it will be an unviable organization, and which is true. How does somebody get this much kind of funding? Who are the people who are interested to fund this kind of losses? So if they were not there. So I have 2 or 3 suggestions which I'm certain, which I will also give to the establishment as it is possible. One, to have KYC, because there is no transparency in Twitter. How many followers you have and who are those followers? You don't know who are these people who are retweeting, and you will be surprised to know people who are not known in the society. They get a number of retweets or likes, which is unparalleled. Whereas you, as a very famous journalist, or people like you, they get limited number of retweets or likes. So that gives a question whether there is a transparency issue on the likes, Twitter, retweets, or the followers which are there. So there has to be a KYC so that somebody can be nailed in case if there is an anti-national or an anti-establishment or an anti-society content which is being coming out deliberately, distorted contents especially which were they coming out. So there are 2-3 things which the society has to ask itself.
Right.
Why Twitter was pushing one particular content, whereas they were curtailing another content. So this, and we as Indians,
unless there was an ideological bias or a position, or they were getting money to do the same, why would they want to doctor their algorithm?
I had given evidences of this money coming to the lady. I'm restraining myself to take name of both the ladies here, and I'm very tempted to take that. And they know, and they come from very influential things, and I could see on their face that it was fun for them to have this kind of funding coming through, and if there was
so they knew what was happening. They knew where the money was coming. They knew what they were doing was bordering on
of that.
Was downright brazen, illegal, or perhaps against the very grain of Bharat. But they said, go ahead and we'll do it. And then now they're fighting you in court to say, what can you do about it? We'll try and take you to we'll fight you.
And see the audacity, they can hire Harish Salve or those kind of lawyers because that money which they have.